What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode. My name is Johnny. This is our bus Miles of Smiles. And unfortunately, Regan isn't here today, but we're here talking about this beautiful, beautiful ceiling. We're a little out of order right now, guys. We're a little all over the place. Our projects are all over the place. We've got some things half finished all over the place. I've got all this footage that we filmed some of, and this cedar ceiling is one of them. So if you follow us on Instagram, you know we've already posted about this awesome progress that we've made on this cedar ceiling. We haven't said anything about it here on the vlog, and actually we've already released a video of something we did after the ceiling, and I still have other stuff that we filmed before the ceiling that I still have to finish up. But such is the nature of building a bus. Sometimes your projects get all over the place, and sometimes your videos will too, I guess. So let's go back a little ways to the week after Christmas. Our good friends Will and Jean Ann came from Cincinnati, Ohio, up to Wisconsin to stay with us for a few days, and we got some bus work done. Will and I cranked out an awesome amount of the ceiling. Will and Jean, it was awesome to have them here, to have them see the bus. Hopefully they can come on the bus with us someday, but it's cool to say they were part of it and get to see it for them, because hopefully the next time they see it is going to be when it's finished. So we're super thankful for them for coming and staying with us for a few days, putting in some work, and just helping progress the build in the right direction. So I'm here today to try and finish up the front cab. Show you that here shortly. But I also need to explain to you guys how the heck we got to this point, some things we learned, and then we'll go from there. So let's kind of go through the finer details of what this ceiling is, how we installed it, and what we're using to install it. So let's go over that real quick. We decided to go with 1/4 inch cedar tongue and groove plank on the ceiling. So it's 1/4 inch thick and about 3.5 inches wide. This stuff is definitely delicate. I mean, you're only working with 1/4 inch of material, and then they had to make a tongue and a groove on each side. So you can imagine how thin the tongue is, and also how thin the two edges of the groove are. If you think about it, these two edges of the groove are really, really thin. So we learned as we were installing, you just have to be aware, be a little bit careful, but you'll eventually get the hang of it, get it down, get a good system. You'll see our lights, because we wired them all prior to putting the ceiling in, we wired them all together and soldered everything together. We had really no option besides to put the lights on the seams, so we cut out little holes, as you can see, cut out little holes where the lights are, and have all the wiring running behind it. We couldn't just, after the fact, tuck these into, say, holes here in the center. Because the wiring was all done, we would have had to cut it, redo it. And that's totally fine. I actually like that we put these on the seams because it helped with maintaining really good lines as far as lining the lights up that are going to be in lines together. And I think just looks clean as well. So that's how we did the lights. And then you can see here, we're securing it with these 1 inch panhead screws. So these are actually sheet metal screws. If you guys know our kind of structure that we've created here back into the bus, our securing points for all of this was these 5 inch wide sheet metal strips. So we're going wood into sheet metal, so we needed to use a screw that was going to allow metal. Now, pre-drill it, it's just going to make your life easier, and even with pre-drilling it, sometimes the tips will break off of them. Various things will happen. So in order to make sure we were nice and center, we actually started in the center of the bus. We have that one support beam running all the way down the center of the bus, And we use that as our middle seam because we wanted lights directly in the middle. And so like I said, we put all our lights on a seam, which made it very easy for us to know where the middle is. And then I started here at the emergency exit light. Now here's one thing I did that in hindsight you need to plan a little bit better when you're doing this. Now like I said, those metal strips here on the side are strips that we have to secure the cedar ceiling to. We have about 7 or 8 of them moving back in the bus. But where this started was just past a metal strip. Now that would mean that the next board starting here and starting here on the edges would not finish on a metal strip, and these boards would be very floppy and would have nothing to secure to. So that being said, I had to cut this back a little bit and cut a little bit of a line here. Just plan ahead with that. I was just too fixated on the fact that from the emergency exit here to the front seam of the cab was a perfect board, and I was really happy about that, so we just ran with it. But just something to be aware of there. Always know where your securing points are. You're going to want multiple points throughout the boards, and you're going to want relatively close to both of the ends to have securing points so the ends don't warp and bend and try and pull away. So with installing a tongue in a groove, obviously one way you're going to have the tongue accepting the groove as you're working towards one side, and the other way you're going to have the groove here accepting the tongue coming in. One thing to note is we figured out that working this way, when you have the tongue exposed here, we would only secure the board on the farthest side from the tongue. Then we would wait to secure this next point once we had the next board under it. And what that did was just help keep the tongue exposed and help keep this side a little bit more flexible. And then once we got the tongue into this groove, then we would go ahead, secure that down, secure the next piece down, and then leave this until we would get the next piece in the tongue, or in the groove. Now moving this way, where you have the groove accepting the tongue as we're working, we really felt okay securing both of these, and it wasn't as difficult. So typically we would secure both and then still be able to get the tongue in there. It was a little bit harder, I would say, working that way, and I had heard that previously, but it wasn't too bad once you figured out a system. And obviously we have not done these sides yet, and that's because this is really going to be the hardest part. This is where the bus really starts to curve, but also this is going to be a channel here where we're going to run a lot of wiring. So for now, I've still got to hook up some of these exterior wires, solder them in, and we've got to kind of finalize some of our wiring. So I'm just leaving these open for now. That's something we can deal with later, especially because we're going to have another piece coming up here that's going to join. So we got to decide how big this piece is going to be, figure out where it's going to join. Part of the reason we're going to have a trim piece come up here is so we can have that wire channel like I mentioned, but also makes our lives a little bit easier. We won't have to go down quite as far with the cedar. We can kind of just leave it a little bit high, hopefully here, and then we don't have to fight this curve quite as much, but we'll probably have to do another 3 boards or so at least over here. And then here you see the part that we're going to tackle today. So this is above the front cab, and this is the last bit that we had to spray foam. We spray foamed it in our most recent video. We were waiting to do some of these furring strips and figuring out how to adhere them. So now that they're all set, we're going to go ahead and start from here, which is where the piece from the emergency exit windows all the way to here is one piece of cedar plank, and then we're going to go from here to the front. So we'll see how this does. There's a little bit of a curve we're going to have to work with. We may have to kind of space some of this out or play with this a little bit, and it may also be kind of difficult by myself. One thing I will say is there's almost no way you're going to be able to do a cedar tongue groove plank ceiling by yourself, or heck, really any ceiling install. It'd be really hard to do by yourself. We did have our poles helping us as well while we were doing all of this. If we had 3 sets of hands, it was even better. So the more hands, the better with installing this stuff. Thank you again to Will, Gene, Nick, my cousin Kev. They all helped out on the ceiling. Didn't get it all on tape, but everybody's been pitching in. And hopefully today we can at least get this front section done. We'll see. So I'm gonna get rolling. Considering it's Thursday, it's 1:35. This vlog's supposed to be out at 6 o'clock, so hopefully I can get a good bit of work done here real fast and then get this vlog edited and get it out to you guys. So let's get rolling. Alright guys, one thing I want to try and show you real quickly on these boards. There's a side to the board that's going to be a little unfinished. You can kind of see here some of these little lines, and it just looks a little bit rougher compared to this side. This side's nice and smooth. Not that this side's not smooth, but there's little grittiness to it. Oh, there you go. You can see that pretty well. But that's your unfinished side. So you want to make sure that all your boards look for that and have your unfinished side up to the ceiling and your finished side down. Now, I'm pretty sure this is a thing. It's definitely something we noticed, and I figured there was an unfinished side and a unfinished side and a finished side. Seemed pretty apparent to me, but just one thing to note with these boards. So I'm gonna get cutting some and try and get some placed up here. Like that, we got our front cab covered. Definitely a little bit, well, trickier in some senses and not as tricky in others as the rest of the bus. So the rest of the bus we were using mostly full boards, and these were about 47 inches to 45 inches or so. Had to cut a few a little bit short here because of a few pieces up here. But anyways, because they were shorter boards, it was a little bit easier to do by myself because there wasn't so much flop in the board. The more difficult part here is there's a decent curve to the cab of the bus, obviously. Now, the good thing about this being only 1/4 inch tongue and groove is it's quite moldable to that bend. Now, if you look closely, I'm sure there's some weird looking waves and whatever, but it actually fits the curve pretty well. I was able to get all the tongue and grooves into each other and solid, and it's set. So as far as I'm concerned, this is good and it's good to go. So obviously the whole ceiling isn't done at this point, but the good majority of it is. And so for me, that's enough to call this a full ceiling video, because probably all the smaller bits, now we may finish these edges here this weekend or something, but a lot of the more detailed bits, some of the edges, things like that, we're probably going to save for down the road when we're doing some finishing bits. So this is the way it'll stay for a little while. It's obviously a huge, super exciting project, so wanted to make a video for you guys. We're a little all over the place with projects and things right now. There's even wiring tucked up behind here that, yes, we installed our 12-volt wiring for the ceiling and for a lot of other stuff that we haven't even shown you guys yet. So as you can tell, videos are all out of order. We're a little discombobulated right now, but we're still been making progress. We've been making tons of progress, and just doing projects as we can, and I've been doing them as I can, whether there's other people here or not. Sometimes you can't do a certain project if you don't have another hand. So I think that's part of the reason we're a little all over the place, which is okay. We're still putting stuff out for you guys. This is going to come out probably a day or two late, but that's all right. I hope this video was helpful for you guys, or entertaining, or whatever it may be. If it was, go ahead, give us a thumbs up. Tell us your favorite part below. Tell us what you think of the new cedar ceiling. Do you like cedar? Do you like the smell of cedar? Because I love the smell of cedar, and it smells great in here, so that's a bonus. Of course, if you are not subscribed, which according to our YouTube analytics, that's like 2/3 of you. 2/3 of the people watching our videos not subscribed. Come on, guys. Go ahead, click the subscribe button. We're here, we're having fun, we're learning stuff, and we're sharing it with you all along the way. So hop along on the journey, and we appreciate any support we can get from you guys. We love seeing you, and we love watching that number grow. So that's it for me here today in this video, but we will see you on the next one.